On this day in previous years, the Three Gorges of the Yangtze River may have already experienced many floods, and the release of floodwaters would have been non-stop. However, the situation this year is extremely abnormal. Due to the decrease in rainfall and continuous high-temperature weather, the water level of the Yangtze River, which should have been in the flood season, was even lower than that in the dry season, and the water level at several water stations dropped to a record low. The water level of the main stream of the Yangtze River was about 6 meters lower than the same period of the previous year, which was the lowest value for the same period since the records began in 1951. On August 13th, the water level of the Hankou Station of the Yangtze River was 17.55 meters, which was the lowest level in the history of the Wuhan section of the Yangtze River since hydrological records began. In the morning of August 16th, the water level in Wuhan section of Yangtze River was only 5.17 meters, the lowest value in the history of the same period since 1960. On August 18th, the water level of the Three Gorges Reservoir was only 146.45 meters, which was 5.7 meters lower than the same period in the previous years. On June 9th this year, in order to meet the flood season, the water level of the Three Gorges Reservoir was lowered to 145.3 meters. The flood protection stage of the Three Gorges Reservoir is designed to be 145 meters, which is also the lowest water level to ensure the power generation of the Three Gorges. However, the empty Three Gorges Reservoir did not welcome in any rain, but faced a large-scale drought in the Yangtze River basin and a serious power shortage. To alleviate the drought in the lower reaches, the Yangtze River Water Conservancy Commission of the Ministry of Water Resources issued an order on August 16th, and the Three Gorges Reservoir will supply water to the middle and lower reaches of the Yangtze River from 12 o'clock noon that day. However, in order to ensure power generation, the current adjustable water level of the Three Gorges Reservoir is only around 1 meter, and the water replenishment volume is only 500 million cubic meters, which is the sum of the water replenishment volume in the next 5 days. This also shows that the Three Gorges Reservoir has basically no water to release downstream before the drought in the Yangtze River water basin. It's not only the Three Gorges, but also other major reservoirs that are now facing a situation of no water to release. There are 4 large reservoirs above the Three Gorges, including Wudonghe, Baihetan, Xiluodu, and Xiangjiaba reservoirs. The total flood control storage capacity has reached 15.5 billion cubic meters, but we're afraid there's not much water stored. A few days ago, the inbound flow of the Three Gorges was stable at more than 10,000 cubic meters per second, and by August 17th, it had fallen below 9,000 cubic meters. According to the Ministry of Water Resources of China, the water storage capacity of reservoirs in the upper and middle reaches of the Yangtze River decreased by 10% compared with the same period last year, and the water level of more than 180 small and medium-sized reservoirs was significantly lower or close to the dead water level. In Chongqing alone, 51 rivers have stopped flowing, 24 reservoirs have dried up, and 2,138 wells have insufficient water output. The Chongqing section of the Jialing River, the main tributary of the Yangtze River, is close to drying up. The pictures posted by netizens show that there are large tidal flats in the river, and citizens can walk to the bottom of the bridge pier in the middle of the river. Some surrounding residents lamented, such a low water level has been rare in the past 10 years. On August 17th, a video of a citizen riding a motorcycle across the Jialing River went viral on the internet. Netizens left comments saying that this is a rare occasion that can really go into the history books. The water level of the Yangtze River has dropped significantly, and some islands and reefs that have been submerged in the water for a long time are now suddenly exposed. Located on the Jiangxin Island Reef near Wutai Village, Chongqing City, 3 statues from the Ming and Qing dynasty dating back nearly 600 years are completely exposed above water. Archaeological researchers found that the statue was beautifully carved and of high cultural value after exploration. In fact, July to August is the main flood season of the Yangtze River Basin every year. That is, the time when the rainfall is the most throughout the year. But this year it was just one drought after another. Since July, the rainfall in the Yangtze River Basin has been 45% lower than the same period of previous years, and some areas have been without rain for more than 20 consecutive days. According to the analysis of hydrology experts, the main reason for the reverse dry season in the flood season is the influence of the less rainfall in the Yangtze River Basin and the sharp drop in the amount of water coming from the upper reaches. Since July this year, there has been continuous high-temperature weather in Chongqing. The region's average precipitation is significantly less than normal by 50%, and the amount of water coming from the upper reaches of the river is 40 to 50% less than the same period in previous years. Not only was there no rain, but China was also hit by the strongest heat wave in 60 years this year. The National Climate Center of China reported that from June 13th to August 17th this year, the high temperature had lasted for 66 days, and the comprehensive intensity of regional high-temperature events has reached the highest level since complete meteorological observation records began in 1961. Nearly 40% of the weather stations measured a high temperature above 40 degrees Celsius, and the temperature at 68 national stations broke through the historical extreme. The high-temperature weather above 40 degrees Celsius in Chongqing lasted for more than 10 days. On August 17th, the high-temperature record was set again in Baihui village in Chongqing, with a temperature as high as 49.9 degrees Celsius. According to the forecast of the Central Meteorological Observatory, from August 17th to 26th, there will still be persistent high-temperature weather in Sichuan Basin, Jianghan, Jianghuai, Jiangnan, and other places, and the total number of high-temperature days can reach 7 to 10 days. The extremely high temperatures has accelerated the evaporation of water, which may lead to the continued aggravation of the drought in the Yangtze River Basin. According to data from the Ministry of Water Resources on August 11th, the drought in the Yangtze River Basin has caused 9.67 million mu of arable land in Anhui, Jiangxi, Hubei, Hunan, Chongqing, and Sichuan to suffer from drought. 830,000 people and 160,000 large livestock have encountered difficulties with drinking water. The Water Conservancy Bureau of Hankou County, Chongqing City, said on August 16th that the Sanhe Reservoir, the water source of the county's water supply, has a water storage capacity of 473,900 cubic meters, which can only meet the water needs of the county's population for about 10 days. According to Chinese media reports, at present, the water source of large and medium-sized irrigation areas of the Yangtze River Basin can be guaranteed, while some areas at the edge of the irrigation area and farms that only rely on rainwater for irrigation will be severely affected by drought. Some of the decentralized water supply projects that use small reservoirs or mountain springs or stream water as water sources are short on water. Some people's drinking water supply will also be affected and will need to obtain water from other places. The water levels of Dongting Lake and Poyang Lake, located in the middle and lower reaches of the Yangtze River, have reached a record low and have entered the dry season, which is 4 months earlier than the usual dry season in December, setting the record for the earliest dry season since records began in 1951. Poyang Lake is also the largest freshwater lake in China. The water level of its representative hydrological station, Yangtze Station, dropped to 10.14 meters on August 18th, which was 6.52 meters lower than the same period last year. The water area of the Poyang Lake area is only 745 square kilometers, which is less than 1/5 of the wet season and 2,195 square kilometers less than the same period last year. With the high temperature comes power shortages. The high temperature has greatly increased the power consumption of residents and enterprises. However, due to the severe water shortage, the water storage level of the hydropower stations has reached the lowest level in history, and the hydropower generation has also plummeted. This serious imbalance between supply and demand has caused a serious shortage of power supply in Zhejiang, Jiangsu, Anhui, Sichuan, and Chongqing. In order to ensure the safety of the power grid and the power consumption of people's livelihood, local governments have issued various power restriction measures, which directly affect the industrial production of electricity. On August 16th, Chongqing High-Tech Zone issued a notice on staggered production suspension, requiring companies to suspend production from 10 a.m. to 2 a.m. Sichuan Province issued a notice saying that to ensure electricity security, most businesses in the province are required to suspend production for 6 days this week. Most of the roughly 16,500 companies operating in the province are estimated to be affected. Chongqing City and Dazhou City in Sichuan also issued emergency notices, saying that if all measures are still unable to relieve the power supply pressure, power cuts will be implemented for residential users in the jurisdiction, and the planned power outage time for each line is about 2.5 to 3 hours. According to Hong Kong's Economic Daily, Chongqing and Sichuan Province are the key areas of China and even the global technology industry. Industry giants such as Intel, Texas Instruments, Foxconn, BOE Technology, and CATL have factories there, and this power restriction also applies to these companies. So the market is concerned about the supply chain of semiconductors, display panels, and solar energy, etc., and worries that it will trigger a chain effect. According to Chinese media reports, Foxconn in Chengdu, Sichuan, has limited power from the 15th to the 20th, retaining only 20% of the power security load, and the entire plant has suspended production. Production line employees have also received a notice to rest. According to public information, Foxconn's Chengdu plant also manufactures and assembles Apple wearable devices, tablet computers, and MacBook computers. In addition to Foxconn, factories in Sichuan such as Toyota, Sichuan Mifeng, Lu Tianhua, Haojiao, and Guoguang have also temporarily suspended production due to power restrictions. Sichuan is also one of the most important places for lithium salt production in China. On August 16th, China Financial Association confirmed from 3 different local lithium salt companies in Sichuan that they have all stopped production. According to the analysis of industry insiders, roughly 6 days of suspension will affect around 3,200 tons of lithium carbonate and lithium hydroxide supply, which will further aggravate the current tight supply situation of lithium salts, which in turn will affect the production of lithium batteries. Planned power outages due to high temperatures have spread across mainland China. Jiangsu, Zhejiang, and Anhui provinces, where factories are concentrated, have also begun restricting production operations due to power shortages. In many cases, these plants are required to shut down during the day when electricity usage is high. The public is worried about China's power cuts because the CCP's zero-COVID policy has already led to a severe economic downturn. We have reported many times before that the Chinese government has built a large number of dams and reservoirs over the years, ostensibly claiming to be able to control floods, irrigate, and generate electricity. However, the actual situation is that a large amount of reservoir water is released when floods come, which cannot achieve the effect of flood control. During droughts, neither power generation nor water can be released, so it cannot be relied on in emergency situations. In addition, reservoirs and dams have seriously damaged the ecological environment. If they collapse due to long-time usage with lack of maintenance, they will bring immeasurable losses to the lives and properties of people living downstream.